All right, let's dive into one of the weirdest and, let's just say it, grossest things our dogs do. If you've ever watched in horror as your furry best friend decided to snack on something they really shouldn't have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And this explainer is for you. You know that moment, right? You see them out of the corner of your eye. You yell their name and they look up at you, totally clueless. And you're just left standing there thinking, why? Why are you doing that? It's baffling, it's frustrating, and trust me, you are not the only one feeling this way.
And this quote from Reddit, it just hits the nail on the head. You can be the best, most on-it dog owner, but it happens so fast. It's not about you being a bad owner, not at all. It's about dealing with a behavior that's surprisingly common and, deeply instinctual for dogs. So just how common is it? Well, one study found that almost a quarter of all dogs have been seen doing this. That's 24%. So if this is happening in your house, just take a breath. It's way more normal than you think, and we're gonna get to the bottom of it.
Yep, this habit is so well known, it actually has a fancy scientific name, Coprophagia. And honestly, that's a good thing. It means scientists and vets have studied it, which means we have real, recognized reasons for why it happens, and more importantly, how to deal with it. So let's figure out what's really going on.
So when you try to figure out the why, the reasons pretty much fall into two big categories. We're talking either medical causes or behavioral ones. And figuring out which of these two paths your dog is on is absolutely the first step to fixing it.
Think of it like a fork in the road. On one side, you have medical reasons, where your dog's body is trying to tell them something is missing. And on the other side, you've got behavioral reasons, which are all about instinct, their environment, and what's going on in their head.
Okay, let's look at the medical side first, because this is super important. If you have an adult dog that just starts this out of the blue, that's a huge red flag. It could be something as simple as their diet lacking certain vitamins, or it could be a bigger issue, like a condition that stops them from absorbing nutrients, no matter how great their food is. Things like parasites or other diseases can make them ravenously hungry, and certain meds, like steroids, can really ramp up their appetite. This is exactly why your very first step always has to be a phone call to your vet. Now, if the vet gives you the all clear, then we're diving into the behavioral side of things. It could just be an ancient instinct hardwired from their wolf ancestors who had to keep their dens clean. Sometimes puppies just copy their mom. For other dogs, though, it's a sign of something else. They might be bored out of their minds, or it could be a way of dealing with stress, especially if they've been punished really harshly. And let's be real, sometimes they're just smart. They figure out that doing this one thing is a guaranteed way to get a massive reaction from you.
And here's a little weird, kind of funny fact from the research. Dogs can be surprisingly picky about this. They tend to prefer it fresh. And apparently in the winter, frozen poop is a special delicacy. A poopsicle, if you will. I know. It just proves their tastes are, shall we say, very different from ours.
Okay, enough about the why. I know what you're really here for. You want to know how to make it stop. So let's get into the action plan. This is your roadmap. Now, it's really crucial to follow these steps in order. Step 1, we've said it before, call the vet. Rule out medical stuff first. Step 2 is management. This is your immediate fix. Keep the yard spotless, supervise them closely on walks. Step 3, get to training. A rock-solid leave-it command is going to be your new best friend. And finally, step 4, enrich their life. That means a good diet, plenty of exercise, and things like puzzle toys to keep their brain busy. And that enrichment piece is a really big deal. Diet especially can play a huge role. Sometimes it's a lack of a certain nutrient or digestive enzyme that's triggering the behavior. Now, this doesn't mean you should start playing vet in your kitchen, but after you've talked to your vet, simple things like adding a bit of pumpkin for fiber or plain yogurt for probiotics might make a real difference. Just make sure you do it under their guidance.
So you've probably also heard about taste deterrents, right? Products you add to their food to make the end result taste terrible, or sprays you can put on the poop itself. And yeah, those can help, but here's the thing you have to remember. They are support tools. They are not the main solution. They don't replace cleaning up the yard and doing consistent training.
All right, let's wrap this all up with a little bit of a reality check. Because tackling this problem is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. And it takes a whole lot of patience.
This quote here really says it all. This is not something that's going to be fixed overnight. You're trying to break a habit that is super ingrained, whether it's for a medical reason or a behavioral one. And the only way you're going to do it is with consistency. That's the magic word.
And I think the most important thing to remember through all of this is that your dog isn't trying to be gross. They're not doing it to tick you off. They're acting on a really powerful instinct, or they're trying to tell you that something's not right. If you can see it as a problem you can solve together, it changes everything.
So, with a little patience, a lot of understanding, and the right game plan, you can absolutely get this under control. And you'll finally be able to get those doggy kisses without flinching. Thanks for tuning in to The Explainer.